that life of sin and death, do you love him enough to give it up? Because he says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. Now I'm going to keep reading because, and I know this is a long passage, but this right here is describing, Jesus himself describing the brand new life in him. If we're going to put off the old and put on the new, we need to understand what was it that Jesus was trying to give us, and this chapter describes that life. A life where we do works that are the same and greater than what Jesus did. Think about that. Jesus walked on the water. Jesus, there were a whole group of ships, not one, but a whole group of ships trying to get to the other side. He translated in one instance, he took the whole fleet of ships and translated them to where they were going. That's better than beating up Scotty. Jesus, the work that Jesus did, and look, one thing I'm tired of is us remembering the miracles of days gone by. God is still a miracle working God right now. The God who split the seas is the same God we worship today. The God that created the universe is the same God we worship today. The Jesus that walked on water is the one who gives us that brand new life. This is the life we're talking about. So we're not just trying to get people to come and join a church. We're trying to help people understand you have a brand new life full of power, full of authority, free from those things that hold you back and bind you. Look, it's hard to come to the understanding and knowledge of the power to walk on water if we're stuck and don't have the power to set down a bottle of liquor. The power to redeem a life is greater than any of that. And Jesus holds that authority to do that. So verse 16, I will ask the Father, and he will give you another helper, that he may be with you forever. That is the Spirit of truth, whom the world cannot receive, because it does not see him or know him. But you know him. Listen, this verse, because people try to say, well, it's not one God, it's three, but then, and look, forget all that mess. It is one God. There are three distinct expressions of that one God, but it's not a different God. I am a husband, I am a father, I am a pastor. But I am one person. How I interact with the people in the different roles is different. But I'm not three different people. I'm not schizophrenic. Right? So there is, again, he already said that I'm in the Father and the Father's in me. Now he says, but you know him because he abides with you and will be in you. I will not leave you as orphans. I will come to you after a little while, and the world will no longer see me, but you will see me, because I live, you will live also. This is the brand new life that he's given you. In that day, you will know that I am in the Father, and you in me, and I in you. He who has my commandments and keeps them is the one who loves me. What? He who has my commandments and keeps them is the one who loves me. God loved the world. He loved you. The question is, are you going to keep his commandments? Are you going to put the clothes on and come to the banquet? He gives you the clothes. He provides them for you. He gives you the power and the authority to live that new life. The question is, are you going to put off that old self, those old garments, quit living in the darkness of flesh, quit living in a way that keeps you bound, and put on those brand new garments of Jesus Christ and live that brand new life? Are you going to show up to the banquet with the clothes on that He's given you? That's the question. He who has my commandments and keeps them is the one who loves me. And he who loves me will be loved by my Father. And I will love him and will disclose myself to him. Listen. God can love us all day. Abby, come here. So I can tell Abby that I love her, right? But there's a difference between me loving her and me loving her. Love doesn't mean a whole lot until it's put into action. You know, I can love Abby and live 2,000 miles away. But even though I love her, I can't love her. I can't put it into action. I can't be the love in the flesh for someone who is far away from me. Thank you. See, God loved the world, and Jesus loved the church and gave himself for it. We're going to love like God and spread the net wide. But until we teach people to live like Jesus, to keep his commandments, that love is great, but it's love that's shown to someone who's far off. Romans says that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. While we were still afar off. Yeah. See, he died and we were still afar off. But then we come to him. And when we come to him, we come to the banquet and we're clothed. We begin to live that new life. We begin to put off the old man and put on the new. That's where, and we begin to live like Jesus. That's where the difference is made. Judas, not Iscariot, said to him, Lord, what then has happened that you are going to disclose yourself to us and not to the world? Jesus answered and said to him, if anyone loves me, he will keep my word. He's doubling down on it. And my Father will love him and will come to him and make our abode with him. And I find that very interesting because what did he start that with? In my Father's house are many mansions. Again, he ends the same way. We're going to, if you really understand what's going on, is that we're moving in. If you keep my commandments, if you really believe what I'm saying and keep this word, we're moving in. And just like you can't see the difference between the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, I'll live in you in such a way that the world can't see the difference between you and me. Now listen, people hear that and they can glorify flesh in such a way that they understand that we're, saying we're God. But what I am saying is that we can have that life so apparent and so evident in us that we put aside the old things and put on the new in such a way that they can't even see the old man. He who does not love me does not keep my words, and the word which you hear is not mine, but the Father's who sent me. These things I have spoken to you while abiding with you. But the Helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring to remembrance all that I said to you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. Not as the world gives to you do I give to you, but do not let your heart be troubled, nor let it be fearful. You heard that I said to you, I go away and I will come to you. If you love me, you would have rejoiced, because if I go to the Father, for the Father is greater than I, now I have told you before it happens, so that when it happens, you may believe. I will not speak much more with you, for the ruler of this world is coming, and he has nothing in me, but so that the world may know that I love the Father. I do exactly as the Father commanded me. Get up, let us go from here. I love that, because he's given that speech, saying, I'm going away. If you really, and he says, if you really understood what I'm saying, you would have rejoiced, because I go to the Father, so that I can have many mansions, many dwelling places. Not only that, we're not just, because we're going to come back in the Holy Spirit, as the Holy Spirit, we're not just going to be with you, we're not just going to be over you, but we're going to be God in you. If you really knew what I was saying, you would have been jumping up and down and leaping for joy. But this new life where God, the Father is in the Son, and the Son is in the Father, and the Holy Spirit is in both, and the Holy Spirit lives in us, and the Father is in us, and the Son is in us, and that very life is what He came to give. You cannot separate His love from His life. So live the life that He gave you. Live the brand new life. Put off that old man with his old ways. And put on that new life in Jesus Christ. First of all, when we say live like Jesus, we're going to live it by example. We're not going to allow the darkness in our life.